Josh Allen definitely showed why he was MVP, winning that big comeback. But for the Ravens, it's a continuation of what they've done for years, just blowing huge leads. And at some point, they have to decide to move on from Harbaugh because it can't keep happening if they want to win a Super Bowl. So the Bills end up beating the Ravens 41-40, and I know Chris Collinsworth was amazed. It was amazing stuff. I mean, Josh Allen was doing some crazy shit out there. I'm not going to lie. Like, he threw for almost 400 passing yards. He ran for 2 touchdowns, threw for 2 more, had no turnovers. He had Keon Coleman going crazy. And despite the fact the Ravens just were able to run the ball, that Derrick Henry had 200 rushing yards, they end up losing this game. Yes, Derrick Henry had a fumble. I believe the only turnover of the game, and that was huge. But I got to be honest with you guys. I was watching the game with Tony the Tiger. He's a Ravens fan, and I've watched plenty of Ravens games over the years. This wasn't the most shocking thing in the world to me. Now, was it a great performance from Josh? I'm not trying to take anything away from Josh. Josh is a great player. He's an MVP. I think a top 3-4 quarterback in the league. On a given day, he can be the best. And I think if when he wins a Super Bowl, we can actually have a true conversation with that. But on a regular season, day by day, you can have Josh up there. He's an MVP, right? You don't get that by not being, consistent and just making great plays. And Josh was great. Wasn't missing any passes, carrying the team. He doesn't have a Derrick Henry to get those big runs. So it was really just him, James Cook, Keon Coleman, and a bunch of guys. Kincaid a little bit, but you could argue Keon Coleman's a guy. But the Ravens routinely do this. A couple years ago, they lost a 21-point lead to 2. They do this kind of thing all the time, way too much. And that's why for me, I'm sitting, watching. We weren't stunned, but I'm looking to see what's going to happen. And the Ravens do this. I just don't know how to say it. And at a certain point, you have to wonder, when are they going to move on from Harbaugh? It's clearly, like, today we're going to blame the Derrick Henry fumble. That's fine. You could blame Jair Alexander, who just came over. But can I just ask, why is Jair Alexander in straight man coverage with no safety help throughout the entire end of the game? Getting burnt twice, got burnt in the corner, and then burnt on a deep over. When it's clear that's not what I guess is what he used to be good at, but that's not a strength anymore. That's exactly why the Ravens were able to get him in free agency in the first place. He was a Packers player. For those who don't know, he's a Packers player. And he came over because the Packers just thought he got too old. They cut him. They didn't want to pay him anymore because he was getting burnt. I remember game 1 last year. The Eagles abused him. A.J. Brown going over the top. Jair Alexander, thank you, free. You're just going to play a man with no help over top? It's wild. It really is that they let it get to this situation, especially considering they had the lead. They're up 40-38, and they have the ball, and they do the most predictable thing possible, which is they go out there, and John Harbaugh is just like, let's run the football. We're going to run it twice. We're going to take some clock. We're going to do clock, run it twice. And this is the crazy thing. I'm watching it in real time as it's happening. Bills are down 40-32, right? They go, they score the touchdown. Josh obviously still playing great. It's like 2 minutes left. They don't get the 2-point conversion. And my immediate thought, I promise, I said this out loud to El Tigre. I said it. I was like, this could actually be worse for y'all. I actually stopped to think. It's like, I don't want to say this could be worse, but I think it's going to change their mentality. And Tony was like, yeah, we got to act like we need to score. Because this is what the Ravens do. They choke leads all the time. But on the same end, when they think they need to score, they do. And I just think it was one of those times where they just were trying to get out of there, and there was no getting out of there. Now, one thing I'll say, again, Josh, great player. He got into a mode tonight that you see great players get into, but it was extended for so long. And that mode was, there's just not going to stop him. Again, this is why wins are a QB stat, because that's the only person in the game who touches the ball every time. And in this game, Josh Allen, once he got it rolling, there was no stopping him. It was clear they weren't going to stop him. And yet, they just, at the end, like, yes, the Ravens got stopped a couple times. Yes, they fumbled. But they had the opportunity to make a decision. All right, Josh Allen's on fire. He's just now scored 2 straight touchdowns. Yes, Derrick Henry's fumble led to one of them. Whatever. He's just now scored 2 straight touchdowns. Fast. Like within a 4 or 5 minute span. So what are we going to do here? And they decide to go I formation, run up the middle. Like I think they go jet some other small play. I think it was another run. It was like Justice Hill to the outside. And now it's 3rd and 8. And now it's like, all right, so we don't give Lamar the ball at all, who that's our MVP. We're not going to let him decide this game. We're going to let Justice Hill and the running game, these obvious runs, and the clock, and our defense, right? We're going to take out the timeouts so they can't use the timeouts. The Bills clearly didn't need any of those timeouts, and it was obvious. They didn't need him to get down the field before. No matter how long they had to go, they were moving at will on the Ravens. So I don't know why that was the consideration when it always should have been get a first down. 1 first down wins the game. 1. You've got to let Lamar at least make decisions. At least run a read option. Like, it can't be Lamar has no opportunity to go in this game. And then, because, I mean, as great as Josh Allen played, Lamar was great himself. He wasn't really getting stopped himself. He had 40 points, right? So it's not like he wasn't doing shit. But you get in that situation, they throw it, he gets 5 yards, it's 4th and 3. Again, my senses are going off. Go for it. Why not? Because, and Tony made a point. I mean, it'd be silly to not be conservative. Man, fuck that. I get that. Yeah, punt it because it's the right thing. No, this dude is unstoppable right now. He's got the X Factor emblem on. He's seeing red. He's on fire. They hadn't stopped anything they had done the entire, really, second half, kind of the game. I guess a little bit early they were getting some stops, some semblance of stops. There's no way I'm not giving myself and giving my MVP the chance to come through in that situation. Personally, that's just me. If the game was, like, I give you an example. If the game is 19-17 in December and it's cold, all right, 2 minutes left, or minute 50 left, minute 30 actually I think it was. No timeouts, cool. But it's a 40-38 game. Offense was clearly the king of the day. Clearly. And again, worst case scenario, you get where the Bills ended up anyway. All right, they're in field goal range, but we have 3 timeouts. We have this, we have that. They gave themselves none of that. Now, toward the end of the game, obviously what you would like, Jared Alexander not to make that tackle so Coleman could just get a touchdown on the deep pass and then maybe give Lamar a chance down 5. I understand why he didn't do that in the moment. His instinct is to make a tackle to try to save the game. But again, watching just like, oh, that tackle's going to hurt him. And the Ravens, down the stretch, do what they always do. They made every possible wrong play, every bad decision. They actually were talking about it like, oh, the Ravens are very upset. They're very mad about last year in the playoffs. Okay, and then they come out and they do similar shit. And so lost me a game I thought was for sure. I thought I had the Ravens -1 easy. Nope, choked it. I didn't think it was easy, I'm not gonna lie. I thought I was like talking down like, yeah, I'm gonna get this. And then I've seen enough of the seeds. I've seen enough of the little of what the Ravens do to be like, they're about to choke this game, aren't they? And Josh is, again, a great enough player to capitalize on it. Some people can't capitalize, but he just stayed with it, kept scoring, and then it just happened. And it's a bummer, honestly. Like, yeah, Josh is a great player, but for the Ravens, I love Lamar. I love Derrick Henry. I love these guys, and their coach is just clearly holding them back. Clearly. How bad they are in situations, how flat they come out in certain points, how this is supposed to be a defensive culture that can't play defense when it really matters, that like and then you don't give Lamar an opportunity. Lamar, for the last 2 minutes of the game, is on ice throwing one pass, a 5-yard route, without an opportunity to make any other plays. It's absurd. It's ridiculous. Now, that being said, Josh Allen, and I don't even know what to really say. I mean, Josh Allen just did what he does. I hate that he's top 3, 4. A lot of people have won. I argued with it, but you can see those arguments on the YouTube shorts. We're not going to get into that, but you can argue Josh is the best. I don't agree, but you can definitely make the argument. And for that, you can argue Lamar is the best, to be honest. I think there's 4 guys, not Burrow, 4 guys. We saw him against the Browns. It hurts over Burrow. But I think there's 4 guys you could put legitimately in that number 1 quarterback conversations based on what they've done and based on Josh and Lamar, like what they kind of do right now. Like, they're in their primes. But it's like... And McDermott, I mean, hey, look, McDermott skated. They weren't any better. They have 40 points. These are supposed to be 2 defensive coaches, and the quarterbacks just do everything. Now, that being said, the Chiefs look wounded. Should be able to beat them, but who knows if neither one of those teams can ever get a stop when it really matters. And I wouldn't even say the Bills stop the Ravens. I would honestly say the Ravens stop themselves. If that's just the case, they're not going to be able to. You can't operate like that. You got to get stops at some point on defense, or else you just. And I know it looks crazy right now. Like, the Bills scored, the Ravens lost, but they scored crazy, and the Chiefs lost to the Chargers. So they got to be able to beat. We don't know yet. We have 4 long months to go. Not the playoffs, regular season week 1. Completely different games. One thing we know about the Chiefs is they're going to continue to adjust. One thing we know about the Ravens and the Bills is, at least in the moment, they don't do that. So, crazy game. Takes over Jets Steelers is the best game of the weekend. Might be the best game of the year, to be honest. I mean, 41-40. Just the explode. It was an explosive, just high flying. Zay Flowers, Derrick Henry, Keon Coleman making plays, Josh Allen, James Cook getting huge runs. I mean, it was nuts. It was crazy. Sunday night, so there's not the aspect of other games going on. It's a standalone. Everyone's watching and everyone going to bed like, yeah, man, that was great football. But for me, I just saw both of these teams' deficiencies, and they couldn't stop anything. And they're not going to take the next step, because in the playoffs, what happens is the scores are a little lower because teams are a little more careful, but they can't stop Mahomes in the playoffs. And Spags can get a stop or 2 against both of those units, and that always ends up being the difference. And that, not to take it there, but that with the Eagles is the difference. Like, the Eagles got stops last year. Don't know if they can do this year, but last year they were able to get those stops. So I think the Bills and the Ravens, like, it was entertaining and fun. But if I'm coaching these teams and I'm like, all right, this is who we need to beat, like, can we play some defense at all? You know, they're going to be 2 of the top 3 teams. They're going to win their divisions. They're both going to get 12, 13 wins still. The Ravens aren't going to be depressed about this. Maybe they should. But they're going to keep doing what they do. Go out, smoke some people. But I just leave that game, like, especially week 1. Defenses are ahead of offenses, and y'all couldn't do it. I know they have MVPs. I know that. I know. No wins are a QB stat. And this is a prime example. Like Lamar beats most people in that game. Just playing Josh Allen. Coin flip. Especially when when your defense isn't doing anything. It's just I don't know. I don't want to be the person not excited, but my football philosophy mind tells me this is like not conducive. It's fun, but it's not conducive to where both these teams want to go, which is the Super Bowl. That game is not what you're gonna see in the playoffs most times. I think the last time we've seen a game like that in the playoffs was the Bills-Chiefs crazy game, and the Bills lost it, and Josh Allen didn't do anything wrong, but they couldn't get a stop. But one thing is clear, there's so much talent. They have two of the best quarterbacks in the league. And with the Ravens, one of the best running backs. With the Bills, clearly supporting cast that can get the job done. And I know we like to say that Josh Allen has no help, but I mean they were out there making plays. So what a game though! What a first day of the NFL season. I'm excited. We still got Vikings Bears Monday night. That could be the Caleb implosion game. That could be that's JJ McCarthy's first start. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I don't know. Sorry to be Debbie Downer, but if these two teams don't do anything about their terrible, shitty defenses, then they're gonna have big problems. Like Derrick Henry's breaking off 50-yard runs, like on regular toss plays. And we haven't seen anyone really like run that well week one all year. Like the Bills keep losing talent, and it looks like their defense doesn't really have it. For the Ravens, they just keep getting old talent and hurt talent. Kyle Hamilton leaves the game with injuries all the time. Humphrey's getting up there. Jair cooked. Kyle Van Noy, he's older. He's 34. 34, and that's their best pass rusher. Big issues. Well, hey, look, we'll see what happens.